Mais um dia. Mais um vídeo e um episódio de Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. Estamos aqui com o Godwin. Temos missões a fazer com ele. Ó, banquete para salvar Henry. Trabalho cívico. Henry. Conhece o Rabino e sua escolta. Encontre Brabant. Olha, caralho, tem muita atividade então com o Godwin. Interessante. Porque aqui embaixo tá falando ativa concluída 3 de 84. Tá. Qual que é o que eu tenho que fazer na real? Deixa eu ver. Encontre o Brabant, conhece o Rabino e sua escolta. E aí, Sir Hans Capan. Oh, os Dishka. E aí, Anzishka. Vamos encontrar a galera aí. Samuel, Rabino Nobre. Cadê o Sir Razik? Kovla. Balkan em Brabant. Vamos falar com o Brabant.
Good health to you, sir. I'm Godwin, a friend of that lad you arrived with, Henry. We don't know each other.
Baron Vauquelin Brabant, Chevalier d'Arezzo, the last of my line. I am a warrior, a traveler, a strategist, and also, à ma manière, a poet.
My word. Isn't that exhausting?
Mais non! And I'm glad to meet a new friend.
It's a pleasure to make your acquaintance, Baron. I knew right away we'd hit it off. How did you end in Malashov?
Ah, c'est une histoire compliquée. It was after I heroically led the defense of Gothenburg, and only lost it narrowly by an unfortunate turn of events.
That needs some explanation. What unfortunate turn of events?
Oh, misère. It is clear you have never been to war.
Coisa é, eu estive sim.
You're quite mistaken, Monsieur Baron. I have.
Ah, je suis désolé. This Bohemia is a strange land. I have seen farmhands, children, and even women fighting. But the clergy? Sainte Mère, do tell me about it. No doubt you fought on the side of truth and honor.
Tem Kopsov, tem Nebakov.
My last big battle was in Kosovo.
I've heard of this battle.
Nebakov também não tem, mas
Many great men fell there.
Aye. And it was there I decided it was nothing for me. So I settled down in the presbytery in Ujits.
Then, what are you doing here at a meeting of opponents of the crown?
The Lord moves in mysterious ways. You say you're a poet? How about a verse or two to
Cara, acho muito legal que tem
Jamais.
gameplay com o
Is
Godwin.
poetry nothing but a fuss to you? Is a poet a gesture for amusement? I think not. To recite, I require the proper mood. And besides, few here would understand me.
Where have you been on your travels? Have you seen the ocean?
But of course! I was born by the sea. If you are interested in my greatest journeys, then I have traveled with a merchant caravan all the way to the Ottoman Empire. And if you are interested in my greatest deed, then that was perhaps saving the life of the King of France.
And you wouldn't by any chance know the Pope, personally?
Which one do you mean? I spoke briefly with Boniface IX when I was sojourning in Rome. A pleasant fellow.
How come almost nobody here knows you?
I am operating, as they say. Incognito. My great benefit is my strong connection with the French court. There, everyone knows my name. Here in Bohemia, I'm still building my reputation, slowly, but surely.
Claro. Tá, vamos falar com outra pessoa então. Qual que é o nome? É o Samuel que tem que falar ou o Rabino? Fala com o Samuel.
Such rare guests. One wouldn't expect to find among Christians representatives of your community. I'm Godwin. My greetings to you.
Peace be with you. Neither would one expect a priest here. And yet,
How do you know I'm a priest?
It's not difficult to tell. After all, we have much in common. And we are both a little on unfamiliar ground here. I'm Yehuda, leader of the rabbinical court in the sacred community of Gutenberg.
O cara fala tudo estranho.
And this is Samuel, my aide.
Prazer,
Would rather
Samuel.
not be here at all. Why did we have to come here, Sadie? Can you not see everyone is staring at us?
Because we all need to help each other
Cadê o
in this
Liechtenstein?
time of need.
Liechtenstein. Tá lá em
And
Gutenberg,
why
esconderijo.
would they not stare when you are frowning so?
Are you here to arrange some trade?
We have more serious matters to attend to here than gaining a few groschen. The situation in the town and the kingdom is unsustainable. The whole land is on the brink of destruction. You have men and weapons. We have the means
Cara,
to
ficou bravo,
sustain
entendi.
them.
Why are you telling this to a Koimer? You wanted to deliver what we brought to the Margrave and quickly leave.
Everything in good time, Samuel. We have just arrived, after all.
Did you come to lend
Oh,
money
there.
to the lords?
Oh.
Not to lend, but to give. Help given to the needy is repaid only by God.
You don't even know if you can trust them. With that money, we could have paid mercenaries ourselves.
You remind me of my young friend Henry. He's a bit of a hothead too.
Henry? That messenger of Radzik Copula?
You know each
Conhece,
other.
né?
You're both around the same age.
That would be him. But we did not get off to a very good start.
Well, maybe you'll get to know each other better. He should be coming here later, by the way.
É.
For a young stripling, he's been through plenty. It's not so long since
Se
his
der tudo
parents
certo
were
lá com o
killed
rei
in
Sigismundo,
Skalitz. He was supposed to become
ou
a
Sigismundo,
blacksmith, and instead, he's roaming the world, risking his neck at every turn.
Wait. A blacksmith, you say? From Skalitz?
Aye, that's right. Did you know anyone there?
I knew of someone.
Nossa, ele conhecia meu pai.
Blacksmith
Que não é meu
by the
pai,
name
mas
of
enfim. Me
Martin.
criou.
My daughter knew him most, and that is why Samuel is in this world. For our numerous sins.
Maybe he was my father.
Oh,
He
caralho.
certainly didn't act like one.
Então Martin era o pai
Ma
biológico
raised
dele.
me on her own.
And that was all for the
Que
best.
doideira.
Why? He should have taken care of me, but instead he fathered another bastard.
Don't make
Esse é o
hasty
filho do
judgments.
Martin,
As far
mano.
as I know, Martin didn't have
Caralho.
any other children. At least, none of his own. He took in Henry and raised him as his own on the
Me
orders of the
fudendo,
Lord
mano.
of
Samuel,
Scouts, Sir
cara do
Radzik
jogo
Copula,
novo aqui, ninguém conhecia.
Henry's
É o
real
filho
father.
do
I
Martin.
don't care if he took care of 20 other Mamsas.
That boy's blood father denied him, just like yours did to you.
A person can't choose their parents. And Henry only found out about it recently.
Enough. I'd rather have a drink.
É, ele
Will you
não
have
gosta do
one
Martin.
too,
Mas
Zane?
Martin tá morto, então se
For
for.
that, there will be more suitable times.
Good health.
Prefiro não beber, isso aí não combina com o padre, não.
L'chaim.
O padre é o maior bêbado que eu conheço, mano, nesse jogo. Na moral. Ih. Cutscene. Ó, Jobst. Anos. Diabo, Sir Hans, Jiska. Radzik.
Dear friends and allies,
O Godwin ali atrás.
in these troublesome
Tudo bem,
times,
óbvio.
you all know why we're here. The question remains, what to do next? Sigismund is facing troubles in Hungary, and here too he is up against resistance. He's a capable strategist, but a poor diplomat. Mark my words. If we wait him out until winter, he will leave of his own accord.
By winter, He'll have torched all our fortresses and carried off everything that we possess.
Are we seriously gonna wait and cower in a corner? Or are we gonna drive them out in shame?
Nossa.
Few well-planned raids and we could have him in our fists!
At what price? Have you got men to spare?
Jobs tá se
Has any
cagando,
of
mano.
you got men and money to spare?
We don't have men out there.
Yes, we do.
We do not.
Jobst is right. That whole sun won't fall easily.
Only we can't wait.
Are we to get ourselves killed?
Nossa, é a merda.
End with nothing.
Ixi.
Friends, we'll get nowhere like this. Let's adjourn ourselves and try to think it through.
Godwin só beberam, não quer nem saber.
That went just
Ah, o
as
Liechtenstein.
expected. Good health. And to yours. Could it have gone any other way when there's so many of us here? I would have expected a bit more sense from Jobst, of all people. He made an amateur's mistake. But it's hard to be angry with him when he's trying to ingratiate himself with everyone. By the way, I'm John of Liechtenstein. And you must be Godwin, the son of... That's not a thing I've ever boasted of. How do you know that? I have my sources. From what I've heard about you, I'd judge you could be quite useful to me at today's gathering. Is that so? Indeed. And that's why I'd like to ask something of you. It depends what it's all about. A little delicate diplomacy. I expect we can agree that Jobst's plan has certain shortcomings? That's a weak word. And the way it stands at the moment, he'll never get the support of the council. But I have an idea how to change that. Well, I'm curious how you hope to shut Zizka up and satisfy the ones who want peace. We'll sit and wait quietly until Sigismund withdraws of his own volition, as Jobst proposes, but we'll be waiting in the military camp of our huge new army. If Sigismund decides to mount an attack on the camp, it'd be a massacre. Ah, but it won't. Sigismund's army is demoralized and weakened. And besides, he's running out of resources. He's able to tackle fortresses that aren't able to defend themselves, but he won't engage an equal force on the battlefield. But he can't retreat either. That would be a disgrace. And that's exactly why we'll wait until he's called back to Hungary by events there. For the plan to work, we need allies, their money and their determination. We've already set the ground for it. We just need negotiators who will push the right people in the right direction. Are you saying you set everything in motion even before Jobst? More like in parallel.
Esse João de Liechtenstein é espertinho.
If we find support and make it look like the whole thing was his idea, we'll all win. You've got an interesting way of approaching things. You're certainly not the first to tell me that. I take it as a compliment. Why are you doing all this anyway? Because I want to put a stop to the senseless deaths. And also because I'm happier with Wenceslas on the Bohemian throne. I'll help you. What exactly should I do? I'll give you 3 names. Botchek of Kunstadt, Hamann Alder, and Anna of Waldstein. If you can get those 3 on our side, we've won the day. Meanwhile, I'll take care of Jobst. What if it doesn't work? I refuse to even consider that outcome. Because it would mean slow, but certain defeat for all of us. Why me, of all people? Because you've got a head on your shoulders. You know how to talk, and you're not just out for your own good. You and your friend Henry are similar in that respect. That's why I know I can count on you both. There aren't many like you two left. Tell me a bit more about those people, so I know who I'm dealing with. Certainly. Who do you want to start with? Bocek of Kunststadt. I know the name, but I can't quite place him.
That's just the thing. He's got massive estates, great influence, but he holds back. He doesn't play the big game, because he doesn't like to take risks. He always goes for the sure thing. But once he's made his mind up, not even a pair of oxen will hold him back.
Alder the Alderman. Wasn't he a Kuttenberg councillor?
He still is. The only one who retained his position after the city was taken. Only he's here, instead of cozying up with Sigismund in Kuttenberg. So his days in the council are numbered. But he'll continue to have a strong influence on the guilds and the rich burghers. And that's why we need him.
Anna of Waldstein. The widow of that rich mine owner. What was his name?
Wenzel Bartosz. And I'm not surprised you forgot.
I was quite surprised to see her here. Assemblies like this are more of a...
A male affair? So far, Godwin, so far. Anna is holding back and behaving like an exemplary young widow. But don't trust appearances. She's got claws, she knows how to do her sums, and she certainly has no love lost for Sigismund.
And what use can she be to us? Apart from her late husband's money, of course.
She's as sharp as they come when it comes to trade. And she knows a thing or two about diplomacy. There are wicked tongues that claim Bartosz acquired most of his wealth thanks to her. And that it was thanks to her that he died, too.
I'll get on.
I wish us both luck.
Success to our plans.
Bebê, né? Vambora. Perfeito. Tá, agora... eu obtenho o apoio de Ana de Alstein e eu obtenho o apoio de Amon Alder. Essa é a Ana. E aí, Ana?
God be with you, noble lady. There's something I'd like to ask of you.
God be with you. What would that be?
Your diplomatic support. And your money.
No beating around the bush, eh? I like that. But what do you want my money for?
Margrave Yob's plan has some gaps, milady. We need to gather enough resources to...
To muster an army that Margrave can't afford on his own?
Christ. Be praised. You're astute.
I should say so. All sorts of people have their eyes on my money, and divining their intentions is a necessity. Although, between the two of us, it isn't hard to figure out what Liechtenstein is after.
Hit the nail on the head again, Mom. You're well informed.
I am rarely mistaken.
I'd say you have a better nose for people than most of this crowd.
Not only for people, but also for good food and wine.
Espertinha.
And beneficial deals.
Then you're in the right place. This occasion provides all of those things.
The wine here is average. The cooks lack imagination. And I have yet to hear any interesting offers. So, to the point. What is it that Liechtenstein wants from me?
Nothing more than support and resources for an army to parley more effectively with Sigismund.
Nothing more? I'd say that's plenty. And why ask me for help? Why should I, of all people, take the risk?
It's not only your money we're interested in. You're well able to negotiate and trade. And if you were to take part in our plan...
Then I'd be helpful to you on two fronts. If you want me to support you, you must give me a good reason. Perhaps a favor in return.
Do you have something in particular in mind?
Well, one of the guests here has some...
who's that?
Hamon Alder.
Hamon Alder.
If you were to switch these papers for the ones he brought with him, I would support you.
Have you fallen out with the town councillor?
No. Alder is innocent in the matter. My relatives from the House of Bartosz are behind it all. They're disappointed that I dared outlive my husband, and the fact that I'm handling his estates makes their hair stand on end.
And these papers I'm supposed to switch, what do they concern?
My relatives somehow dug up some trade contracts between myself and certain undesirable parties.
You were dealing with the enemy.
They were not the enemy at the time. My conscience is clear, but I'll rest easier when those papers are in my hands.
I'm supposed to rob an ally.
Haman Alder was given the documents to deliver to the council. He hasn't yet had a chance to look at them, so he won't even notice the difference.
And the papers I'm supposed to plant on Alder?
Just insignificant documents. If the incriminating ones disappeared without a trace, it would arouse suspicion.
All right, I'll help you. Or at least I'll give it a try.
Alder
Padre
will
Godwin
surely have the papers
furtivo.
in his saddlebags, which he left in the shed on the outer court.
Galpão, parte
Bring them
externa.
to me, and but watch yourself. Odorim's groom has eyes.
Tá, vamos trocar os documentos. Depois a gente continua negociando com ela. Vamos negociar de um de cada vez.
Not even Bocek?
Not even Butch.
O Raman aí. Ó o Jobst.
Your Grace, may I disturb you for a moment?
Certainly.
Godwin, I came with the lords from Ratai.
Now I remember. Forgive me, there are many guests and I only have one head.
Não quero falar sobre o Link sem estar com ele, senão, né, sei lá. Ó, o Valkyrie tá ali ainda. Vamos sair. Ó, cama 4, meu Deus, por que eu tenho tanta cama? Posso dormir em qualquer um. Ah, ô louco. É uma merda, hein? Nossa. O padre tá com o bucho cheio.
Huh? What? God bless.
Aren't you a bit bored?
What's your problem? The horses are fed and watered?
God forbid. But standing...
Not really.
Shall we roll some dice?
Well, I'll wait at the table.
Vai esperar na mesa? Vai lá, pô. Tá na Forge. Trocamos papéis. Vamos jogar dado com os caras, senão vai ficar suspeito. Onde ele foi? É ali? E aí?
We'll see whose side luck is on today.
Jogar, né, galera? Porque senão ia ficar muito suspeito. Nossa, já ganhei. Mentira, não ganhei ainda mais. Não pode fazer um 2, 3, af. Pontuar e passar, né? A não ser que ele pegue 1000, né? Aí ferrou. 500.
Like this. My God!
Reverse.
Oh, come on!
Ferrou, mano. Nossa, agora eu ganhei. Ainda não. Perfeito. Pontuar e passar. Falta 200 pontos só. Tá safe.
Alright, that'll do.
Tá safe. Tá safe. Jesus Christ be praised. Ganhei, né? Ganhei já aqui. Vamos lá, pontuar e passar pra ganhar o jogo logo.
Good game, friend. The money's
Okay.
yours.
Obrigado, mano. Tchau. Tá, agora vamos conversar com a moça lá. Ela que a gente conseguiu o que ela queria. Trocar uns papéis. Corretamente, sem ninguém perceber nada. E aí?
I've got those papers from all...
Quiet!
My lady, With all the clamor going on here, I can hardly hear my own thoughts. Here they are.
You're more capable than I expected.
É óbvio, eu sou o Godwin.
Thanks for the help.
You're welcome.
I am Godwin from
And
music,
now you're
of music.
As agreed. I will support Liechtenstein's proposal
Perfeito.
with both words and
Mais um na
money.
lista, hein?
Thank you, noble lady. God will...
Yes, quite. But let's drink to our bargain.
Mano, o Godwin vai ficar bêbado de tanto beber.
How could I refuse a toast with such a fine lady? To your health, Lady Anna.
And to the success of our efforts.
Vai, Godwin, você tem que ter uma resistência à bebida boa. Tá, agora eu tenho que falar com o Ramanalder e o Bostek de Constant. Vamos falar com ele aqui que tá aqui do lado já.
I'd like to check your horses out. See if they're as good as you say.
Pah, even better. But you won't believe it until you see for yourself.
And you might not believe your eyes when you do see them. Well, well, we have a new guest. I wanted to...
You wanted to apologize for crashing into my home without it by your leave. Or to harass my guests some more?
I want to have a word with Older.
Well, I'm having a word with you.
I apologize.
For interrupting our conversation? Or just for being you?
Is that your...
Unfortunately.
Caralho, ele é meu
Speak
pai.
up then. What are you doing here?
I came with a delegation from Sir Hanush of Lipa.
Is this a joke?
Why so strict, Martin?
20 years ago, he was nothing but a cheeky brat, only interested in
20
wenches
years,
and
cara.
booze. I got him a place at the Archbishopric to have some sense beaten into his head. Only it wasn't long before they kicked him out. And then I find out he's settled in some backwater parish in Sassau. But he took his boozing and whoring along with him, lost everything, and then came creeping home again. Huh?
Try saying it again a little louder. They might not have heard you in the outer courtyard.
You have the impertinence to show me your face after the way you disgraced our whole family?
You're exaggerating, like you've always done.
Me? Exaggerating? You're the one who turned my home into a house of ill repute. Your whores wandering around as if they owned the place.
Oh, actually, anything fun was strictly banned under your roof. But maybe you ought to try it yourself sometime. Then maybe you wouldn't be such a bitter old grouch.
You're dishonoring your host.
I can't dishonor someone who has no honor.
It's
If you
funny.
had any, you'd be...
That's enough.
Christopher.
You won't get away with those insults.
Aceito.
I'm not happy about it, but I accept. This isn't how I imagined my first meeting.
Ah, é meu irmão agora, caralho. Vamos dar um pau no meu irmão.
A very private matter. It's an honorable duel, man against man. Stay back.
Toma.
What's wrong with your legs?
Fácil.
My God. Where did you learn to wield a sword like that?
Eu sou o
Although
Henry
I
of
said you were a
Skalitz.
good-for-nothing
Só que agora tô
bruiser.
no corpo do Gotham.
You could teach sword fighting in a school.
I was in a war. Right after they kicked me out of the Archbishopric. And you ought to know yourself. Not all the faults that Father sees are real.
Aye. Well, I
Tem pau no meu
apologize
irmão.
for going off like that. I had to, so that...
So Father would be satisfied. I know. Only he'll never be satisfied. And the sooner you realize that, the better.
I thought he was the way he was because his first son let him down. And he hoped at least his second would become something.
Not at all. I remember him
Não
the
vou ser coisa
same
com meu
since
irmão,
I
né?
was a nipper.
Vamos ficar em
When I
bons
was
termos.
6 years old, I fell off a horse and broke my leg. He wouldn't talk to me for a week because I'd let him down.
The first time he took me hunting, he let me starve for 3 days
Meu
until
Deus,
I was
pai
able to
horrível,
shoot
mano.
my first hare.
Only 3 days. He got soft.
I always wondered who you were. There was never much talk about you at home.
Look, I really did fuck up everything I could. I brawled and boozed until they threw me out of my own parish. But now, I have a chance to put things to rights a little.
And that's why you want to talk to Alder?
I've got to get him on our side and to cooperate with us.
Aren't we all on the same side?
Maybe everyone's saying that.
É.
But it's time to put it into action.
After your encounter with Father, it won't be easy to get to Alder. Actually, I don't think you should even attempt it. Unless you want to anger Father even more.
What else can I do, though?
I'll talk to him myself. He'll hear me out for sure. But you'll have to trust me.
Vou confiar,
Tell
vai.
me what it's all about.
All right, then. You've heard Yob's plan, right? It's a nice idea, but we can't wait around without an army to back us up.
Only no one's going to pay for one, because that would be an outright admission of rebelling against Sigismund.
Alder's got some clout with the councillors and burghers who are loyal to Sigismund. If he agrees, they'll follow.
I expect Alder's not the only one you're after.
You got that right.
Leave Alder to me. The plan sounds sensible, and he's no fool.
I don't know how to thank you.
You can drag me to a tavern sometime. Bard doesn't need to know about it.
Da hora.
You're starting to sound like a brother.
Que foda, né, mano? Conhecer mais sobre o Godwin é tão legal, porque tipo, quem esperava que o Padre Godwin do primeiro jogo tem uma missão só, pelo menos principal, não sei se tem secundária com ele, ia ser tanto aprofundamento aqui. Caralho, era o Hades aqui, mano. Ah, não, cheguei.
I hope there'll be no singing. I've had a few nightingales and they all screeched like
E o diabo também.
Be careful with those groschen, my friend.
Ai, que legal, quer ver se o Hades fica aqui, velho.
an old grievance.
A little misunderstanding involving a big pile of counterfeit groschen.
How big are they? Big enough for that bastard Istvan to raise a small army. He caused us a shitload of trouble.
Pois é.
I heard about that Hungarian pussack. But he was dangerously clever and as slippery as a bag of eels.
Even though Jobst is right, I'm in favor of decisive action. We can no longer afford to wait.
As if I didn't have enough on my plate already. Like my ward, who I can't leave unattended for a few days.
É foda, Sir
Don't
Hades.
go easy on him. It wasn't his fault. And you said you forgive him.
But for the last time.
Cara, complicado, Sir Hades.
Ah, young Lord Capon is an adult now.
But he doesn't act like it, damn it.
So marry him off.
What?
Find him a wife. That'll straighten him out in no time.
Well, now that you mention it.
He'll sire a few brats and he'll be as tame as a lamb. And happy.
An interesting idea, don't you think, Hanush? Maybe he really needs a firm woman's hand.
Don't you start too. Am I supposed to find him a bride?
Sim, Hanush. Vai ter que achar.
No burger's daughter, but them merchants would bleed you dry before you could say dowry.
Ei, Radzik.
Godwin, you wouldn't be avoiding me. We didn't have much time for conversation on the way here.
Vamos
Let's
conversar.
rectify that.
With pleasure, sir. As it happens, there's something I'd like to ask you. What are you expecting from today's gathering, my lord?
Well, I have no great expectations. But, all going well, we may be able to
Adoro Sir Radzik, ele é
establish
tão
some joint steps
carismático,
towards the
mano.
future. As long
Ele
as
é
we
muito da
proceed
hora.
without prior agreement and mutual support, we will be very
devolver a
unlikely to
espada
achieve
dele,
any
velho.
progress.
I couldn't help but notice your son has a bit of a
Pra
talent for
caralho.
getting into trouble.
To put it mildly, but not to do him an injustice, knowing young Lord Capon, he undoubtedly contributed to that more than a little. Although, if they didn't pull each other out of trouble, God knows where they'd be now.
Pois é.
Wise words. Still, Henry's come a long way on a thorny path. I trust you're rightfully proud of him.
You know, I am. And Martin would also be glad, even though Henry chose a different path than he.
May God grant him eternal
Pra
rest.
caralho. Por que o Sr. Divish não veio?
Where did you leave Sir Divish? Surely he's not too old to miss out on such an event.
Haven't you heard? Lady Stephanie
Meu
was with
Deus do
child.
céu.
No one even imagined Divish would produce an heir
Mano,
at his age.
se a filha dela Harry, mano.
Doesn't matter who needed the dough.
Meu
as long
Deus.
as there's a pie in the oven.
Godwin.
Well, it could be a miracle.
Caralho, eu acho que não é
Praise the
Harry,
Lord.
velho. Ia ser muito bom.
May I have a word with you, sir?
Ei, Sir Hanish.
You? Anytime. With you, at least, there's some sensible conversation. Unlike this pack of conceited upstarts.
Have you got something against the Kuttenberg nobles?
Their forefathers lived up to their ears in dung. But thanks to the royal mines, they were born with silver spoons up their asses. And they think that can turn their blood blue.
But surely they're not all like that. And they are our allies.
Allies or not, someone ought to show them their place.
Caralho, Sr. Divish vai ter um filho, mano.
Young Lord Capon is finally free again.
Mesmo que
Let's
seja do
hope he'll
Harry.
take better care of himself now.
He got a harsh lesson. But at least he might remember to lay off that tomfoolery of his for a while. But if not, war will make a man of him soon enough.
Do you think there's really going to be a war?
Com certeza.
I mean a proper one. Not just sitting around and talking about it.
I sincerely hope so. Whoever sits around risks nothing. It's time to get off our asses and take action.
What do you think about Jobst?
Are you testing me? Jobst called this assembly and he wants things to turn out well. We have to trust him.
To turn out well for whose benefit, though? Some are up to their elbows in silver and blood, so others can live in freedom.
Better make sure you're among the latter, then. And in the meanwhile, help the former to keep their losses to a minimum.
Tá. Vamos falar com quem tá faltando de falar aí. Onde é que é, mano? Em cima mesmo? Aqui. É com esse cara.
Sir Bocek, I need to speak with you for a moment.
A man hardly puts his cup to his lips and someone Jobst comes up with a plan as full of holes as a beggar's shoes.
On the contrary, I've come here with an idea how to improve it.
Does that improvement include a few thousand men-at-arms? If not, you can go to the devil with it.
A few thousand men-at-arms as a convincing argument. And 100 horsemen on top. Only in
Tá, esse cara não
order
vai
to
ser
get
difícil
them,
convencer, eu acho.
we need coin.
You've got my attention, but not my money yet.
Don't worry, it's not just your money I want to draw on. Believe it or not, we've gained other patrons for our cause too.
Really? Name at least one of those lunatics, then.
Anna of Volstein, for instance.
Truly? Well, let's see about it, then.
I wouldn't mention the word lunatic.
All right, let's discuss it, candidly. I have a lot of property, lots of subjects to look after, and along with that, the Lord blessed me with a large family. I can't risk it all in a conflict with Sigismund.
So you need guarantees that you won't be left standing in the cold if you openly oppose Sigismund.
My guarantee is called Yitka. She's my niece. If I succeeded in marrying her off to another strong house, I'll have the certainty that I won't be left alone.
Maybe it's enough to find a suitable groom among the allies.
Perhaps someone of suitable standing who Yitka would also gladly accept. I don't want her to be unhappy.
E tal, o jovem Lord Capon, ele estava em casa. E quanto a mim?
How about young Lord Capon?
He's a youngster still.
What's wrong with him? He's young, he's handsome, women are fighting over him. Yitka will like him, and he'll give her a whole bunch of children.
And to half the wenches in his domain too, eh? On the other hand, the lords of Leipa have a good reputation, and Hanush can always be relied on, despite his temper. Maybe it's not such a bad idea.
I'll convey your offer to Lord Capon. If he agrees, we can
Meu Deus, hein,
celebrate
pra
our
arranjar
lives.
uma
I
esposa pro
don't care
Capone.
what the young lord thinks. Hanush is the one to decide. If he agrees, I'll be happy to support him.
Pushing a friend to tie the knot to save the kingdom.
The kingdom will not forget his sacrifice. Now stop.
Tá, vamos falar com o Hanush, que tá aqui fora. Sir Hanush.
Sir Hanush, I bring happy tidings.
You do? Let's hear it then.
Young Lord Capon is going to get married.
If he's got some impoverished noble's daughter pregnant, I'll have his hide. I'm not going to support some bastard.
You misunderstood my meaning. I was the one who arranged the betrothal. I mean, with your blessing.
You arranged a marriage for my ward? Just like that? With who?
With the niece of Sir Bushek, Lord of Kunstadt. Her name's Yidka.
Bushek of Kunstadt? The Bushek of Kunstadt?
Sim.
Godwin, you conniving old bastard.
Oh, fuck.
I don't believe it.
Ele gostou, acho.
Young Hans is to marry Kunstadt's daughter?
Niece.
If you're serious, I'll make sure that you get the Rattay parish.
Caralho.
Or you could make me the abbot of Sassa. Or what about a bishopric?
Forget it. Soon I'll be paying for a wedding. Not a word to Hans. I want to tell him myself. But let's drink to it, shall we?
Beleza.
Cheers!
Devo recusar.
Cheers to you. And to your parlaying skills.
Caralho, mano, fiz a boa. Mano, eu vou sair bêbado desse lugar ainda. Tá, conseguimos um apoio do bot stack. Olha o Yanjishka aqui.
You seem a bit out of sorts. Anything wrong?
Oh, these grand aristocratic assemblies are nothing for me. I'd be
Zizka.
happier if they just told me in the morning how it all went and what my board...
But then you'd miss all the grub.
Oh, and have you heard anything interesting here?
It seems Liechtenstein's looking for allies. For his own ends.
And how's he gonna do it? Didn't you see them all fighting tooth and nail here just a while ago?
Well, different approach.
The only approach that'll work with Sigismund is open resistance.
Let's hope young Lord
pelo
Capon
amor de
manages
Deus.
to stay free for a while longer. Ever since leaving Rattay, he's gone from one pile of trouble to another.
That's one thing you can always count on him for. I'll gladly wager with you he'll end up in some other shit by evening.
God
Pelo amor
forbid.
de Deus.
Henry's not here now to pull him out of it.
In that case, it'll be up to you. I'm sure you wouldn't leave him to disgrace himself in front of Hanush.
A lot of people think the wealthy burghers will stick with Sigismund, whether out of fear or convenience.
Well, that's to be expected. As long as Sigismund has the city council under his thumb, no one will rock the boat.
Well, at least there's a few individuals here, like Ruthard.
Sigismund confiscated his castle and half his estates. That'd be enough to make a man mad. Not to mention that his son was killed in the siege of the city.
Tá, o Botchek conseguiu o
Sir
bagulho.
Bushek, your niece Yidka can start preparing for her wedding.
Mano, literalmente
So,
arranjando um
Hanush
casamento pro
agreed.
Capão do nada.
Without reservations.
Indeed.
Then I will fulfill my end of the bargain without reservation.
Boa.
Thank you, Lord of Kunstadt.
Enough formality. We'll have a
Vamos
drink.
beber,
What do
né?
you
Vamos
say?
beber. Tamo bebendo, tamo bebendo.
Cheers to the beautiful Lady Yidka and the unhappy Lord Capon.
Here's to a good bargain.
Vambora. Pare com o Liechtenstein sobre o apoio que conseguiu. Vamos lá, Liechtenstein.
I'm still hoping it works out and we walk out of here with a clear plan. But maybe you were right. It was probably not the best idea to gather all the lords
Não, isso é
under
muito da
one.
hora, mano. Todos os lords aqui, tá
At
ligado?
other times, I would celebrate hearing you admit a mistake, Margrave. But if I were you, I wouldn't lose faith just yet. Sometimes all you need to do is send the right man to whisper the right words.
Nobre Conrad, quem é esse cara?
Sir, I don't believe I've had the honor.
Nor I, until now. I am Sir Conrad, Lord of Vechta. And you are the heir to the Lord of Rabosh, are you not?
Used to be. My father somewhat disowned me some time ago.
And I used to be the Royal Mint Master, until the King decided to replace me.
Are you going to support the Margrave's proposal?
I haven't quite decided yet. It's true that displeasure against the King is noticeably growing in Kuttenberg, but if our rebellion were to come face to face with Sigismund's army, I'd be risking my future, if not my life.
Do you think you might get your position as Mint Master back again?
I doubt it. Half the town hates Vavak, but no one would even think of saying a word against him. And he knows that his security stands and falls with his function, so he clings to it tooth and nail.
We've got quite a bit in common, wouldn't you say?
More than you think. If my memory doesn't deceive me, you serve as a parish priest. So I recollect, at least, from my recent discussions with Martin.
Served.
Even so. Before King Wenceslas appointed me his master, I was a priest. I was even being groomed to become a bishop.
And now look at us. We have cast off our robes and merrily hatched plots against Sigismund.
There's no point in waiting for divine intervention. On the contrary,
it was a pleasure to...
Likewise.
Legal, conhecemos mais Sir. Tem o Samuel here.
Everything all right? You look a bit out of sorts.
I can't wait for it to end so we can get out of here.
Ele odeia aqui.
I reckon you'd have to be pretty brave to come and mingle with the Kuttenberg lords.
Or pretty pissed off.
Or that.
We will leave as soon as we can. Anyway, all of these worthy gentlemen will be relieved when we are out of sight.
Would you tell me something about your community? I haven't found out much so far.
What can I tell you? It was never exactly glorious. And now especially, everyone is quaking that what is still left to us will be taken away.
Surely it won't be that bad.
There are many fools who would rather take out their gall on us and start to fight among themselves. In times of uncertainty, it is always the sons of Israel who are the first to be stricken.
At all. I managed nothing. But I have found someone who could pull a thought.
Isso foi o Aldeirinho. Olha o meu pai aí. Kunzlin Huthard.
Sir Kunzlin, I haven't...
You're Godwin, aren't you?
Oh dear.
Have no fear. I know Martin well, and I know he's prone to exaggeration. Anything I can do for you?
Will you support Margrave Jobst?
That depends on what it is.
Don't know.
Do you think we should...
I came here for one reason alone. If Jobst doesn't lay one out before me...
I expect you know Lady Anna of Waldstein well.
Why wouldn't I? She's joined at the hip with my daughter.
I hope she doesn't feel unwelcome here. I've heard...
To her own relatives, certainly. But I'll tell you one thing. I knew her husband, Wenzel, and I cared for him devotedly till the day he died.
So it's not true what they say? That his demise was...
Vile slander.
What do you think of the rabbi's offer? The Kuttenberg Jewish community is large.
Or nothing.
He said he was interested in...
Aye, but still he must be aware that whatever happens, it won't change the lot.
So you don't...
And isn't it natural? It's not just faith in the walls of their quarter. They live in our city. But they're more foreign than the Germans or the Hungarians. God be with you.
Acho que a gente falou com geral, velho. Vamos lá falar com o João de Liechtenstein.
Gentlemen, I think we can raise our goblets to the...
Is this supposed to be your secret weapon?
Like I said, miracles happen where you least expect them. Tell me, Godwin of the House of Odorin, what news do you bring us?
I bring nothing from the House of Odorin. But the widow of Waldstein and Sir Bocek of Kunstadt will support our cause.
Both of them. Good heavens, what did you promise them?
This is going to be a long story, and I could use a drink. So if you'll excuse me, my lords?
Vamos lá, né? Hora de sentar e contar a história. Vamos que vamos!
It would seem that we have all benefited from the break in these proceedings. New alliances have been formed. And I have also changed my plans. We shall still wait for Sigismund to withdraw his troops of his own accord. But we will wait with an army on our backs.
And how are we to raise an army? Wasn't it made clear at the meeting that no one wants to take the risk?
The only thing made clear was that each of us alone is weak, and that we could not find common ground. But that has now changed.
Opa!
King Wenceslas is, by the will of God, the Balbatim of all his subjects. Not only the Christians, our community, and not only ours, will give you coin.
The Kuttenberg houses are still loyal.
Aê, convenceram ele.
And we stand with Lord Ruthar.
Boa, Christopher.
And if that's not enough, the houses of Leipa and Kunstadt will unite and march side by side.
Bora!
My niece, Yitka, will take young
Quero ver a reação do
Capon
Capon.
as her husband.
A cara do Capon. Caralho. A cara do Capon, velho. É louco. Não sei se ele gostou muito não, mano.
Hanush, Radzig, and I will set out immediately. God willing, we will be back within 3 weeks, along with an army.
Now those are words worthy of a nobleman.
My friend, I still believe that words are more powerful than swords. And our words will ring in 1,000 voices to the glory of King Wenceslas.
Que da hora essa cena, né, mano? Deu certo, João de Liechtenstein. Aí melancia, comida toda. Sir Hans. Papai tá indo embora de novo. Enquanto isso, na Câmara Municipal de Kuttenberg, voltamos a Henry of Scots. Vamos ver, né? Com o rei Sigismundo, o que tá acontecendo aqui. Olha só aquele... O careca filha da puta ali também. Olha o cabelinho novo do Henry, ficou da hora, hein?
After we conquered the city, you promised to restore order immediately. And then I find out things are even more disordered than before.
Your Majesty, we are sorry. We will put it to rights.
You've already said that. I want to hear real solutions.
We will put more guards on the roads and toughen penalties. We can have a few captured bandits executed as an example to others.
We do not care about bandits. We care about rebellious nobles and burghers. What will you do with them? How will you solve the chaos in the town administration, the rebellious miners, and the dismal yields? And how is it even possible that a rebellion against the king is smoldering here in the city?
What do you mean, sire?
I hear the resistance is coming from the Jewish quarter, from right under your noses. Why haven't you done anything?
We don't know who is behind this. Without evidence, we cannot punish them.
Otto von Berghoff did not ask questions in Prague either. He acted. And I advise you to do the same. Find a couple of wretches in a hole somewhere, point them to the Jewish quarter, and give them free rein to do anything. The city's Jewish community was and still is on Wenceslas' side. They need a warning.
We do not even have enough men to...
Marquardt, could you spare a few men for a while?
Of course, sire. I'll assign them to Eric. He'll take care of it.
So you see, all you have to do is make sure the city rebel get their share. You could at least manage that, couldn't you? And if the thought should cross your minds that you would get rid of the debts to the Jewish moneylenders this way, forget about it. Your debts will remain, up to the last groschen. Only now you owe us directly. And while we are on the subject of money, has the yield from the mines finally matched last year's?
Sire, the deposits are dwindling, and mining is becoming increasingly difficult. And to make matters worse, the miners started rebelling.
Don't take us for a fool. They'll stop rebelling when you pay them proper wages.
Your Majesty, we can't do that.
Silence! How dare you oppose the
Cala a
kingdom's
boca,
protector?
Marquardt.
You're a bunch of incompetent sycophants. Chicken shits. Not any better than the scum hiding in the forest.
And drunks! Give them hell! Lazy fools, the lot of them.
How dare you?
Some of you are even swelling right here in the city council meeting. This is unbelievable.
Remove this swillpot from the hall immediately.
I'm
negócio de vinho pra ele.
the truth.
Que merda.
This whole council is a farce. The whole city knows it.
Lord of Sargents, your insolence just cost you your place on the council and a month in the dungeon.
But
hopefully that'll be enough for him to sober up. And if not, put him in the pillory for a while, bailiff.
I'll see to it as soon as the council is over, Your Majesty.
All I hear from you over and over again are excuses and prevarication. And results? None. I therefore placed the city council under the authority of Sir Marquardt von Aulitz, who is present here, with immediate effect. He will make sure you finally do your duty.
Oh, no.
But, sire, that would be a violation of the privileges granted to us as a free mining town.
Silence! I am the only guarantor of your rights. You have to earn your privileges, not hide behind them. During my brother's reign, this idleness was perhaps tolerated. But that is over now. You were given a few simple tasks. But instead of working on them, you idled in the baths and lined your pockets. And let the traitors cast their nets undisturbed. But unlike my brother, I am capable of creating order. And I assure you, I do not distinguish between those who stand in my way. Be they beggars, noblemen, or city councillors. You have 2 weeks to restore order in the city and increase mining output. I want clear results, and you answer only to me and Sir Marquardt von Aulitz now. No one else.
Porra, vai, que varte do caralho, agora conseguiu mais poder ainda.
The council is dismissed. You, don't go anywhere, boy. Be so kind and remain here. Our throat has become
Claro, rei.
dry. And we still wish to speak with our friend von Aulitz.
Yes, sire. As you wish, sire.
Between the two of us, Marquardt, was I not perhaps too harsh on them? And speak candidly. We have had enough of false flattery.
Sire, you were harsh, but rightfully so. These councillors, they need to be shown their place.
Esse caralho, ele tá aqui, cara.
Their insolence for far too long. And the same is true of the Jew.
We know. Otto repeated to us several times that it is not to strike against them. We are glad he's not here. He would be intolerably self-satisfied if he knew we had heeded him.
Boy, can't you see the king's cup is empty?
You tend to us as... Boy, pour us monastic wine. The monks had a good year. We have concerns, friend. The Hungarians
Caralho, espero que esse aqui seja o vinho
Our
certo.
army is falling apart, and we have enemies here on all sides. Would we had a proper army? They cannot be relied upon. And we are no closer to our goal now.
Não sei se é o serviço do vinho certo, mano.
Thank you. It is a good year. If our
Tá, ufa.
the mess that a few years of Wenceslas' reign brought to us. With a single word, he would have put the nobility in their place, and the country would flourish. God grant him eternal glory.
We won't need much more time. We'll arrest the traitor Odorin, and the rest will fall in line.
You say the others will be brought into line, but what do you know of them? We know only a few of them. But there's a fortress standing every damn hill here. What side are their lords on?
We'll find out soon enough, sire.
If only Wenceslas were not such a stubborn ass, and relinquished that throne that he has no use for anyway. The nobility, on the other hand, found a ruler like him very useful. They made a puppet out of him.
Once you restore order, they'll join you. All you have to do is promise them the privileges they lost during Wenceslas' reign.
First, they'd have to be willing to make peace, at least among themselves. Jobs does everything he can to sow chaos, so that he himself emerges
Ay, man.
victorious in the end. This business makes me thirsty.
It's just wait.
Maybe. But first... Threat of war, seriously. And Hungary. If Bohemia is a wasp nest, then Hungary is a viper's lair.
You will follow in his footsteps, sire, as soon as you get the chance.
But the wine is good here. To your health, Marco.
Ele vai precisar mesmo, porque eu vou acabar com esse careca do caralho.
And to your health too, boy. May your children grow in a land ruled by a good king. You did a good job, waiter. You can be proud of yourself.
Your health, Your Majesty.
First, we need to crack down on the biggest troublemakers.
We're working on it. While the consul was meeting, Otto von Berghoff and his men set out for Rabosch. Odorin won't give you any
Eles vão pra Rabosch?
He and Ruthard are in it together. Once we get Odorin, we can handle Ruthard easily. Rabosch will be yours. After all,
Meu Deus.
Otto has already got Malishov.
I appreciate your confidence, sire.
But the devil knows there are a lot more strongholds to conquer here.
For the king, red wine. No.
No. We shall have white.
Tá.
White it is. Quickly!
Tá aqui, tá aqui.
I think von Berghoff's little contraption will find its use again.
Need be. We could use it to raise this... Suggestions for other candidates.
Not so fast, my friend. It's a wondrous tool, but we can't rely on it forever.
To bring it here to the square and point it at the city hall? Those sycophants would only benefit from a warning like that.
It's a splendid idea, but it won't be necessary. The councillors are quite fearful enough already that they can hide nothing from us.
There's been enough fretting, sire. You shall see. Soon we will drink to the conquest of another fortress.
You are right.
Bem na frente do
So
rei.
then, to victory. And you, boy, will you drink with us? So that
Caralho.
you shall have something to tell your children and grandchildren.
To victory, sire.
To today's and those of the future.
Por que o rei tá sendo mó gente boa com o garçom, velho? Esse arrombado desse rei, esse Gismundo. Naquela noite, na fortaleza Raborch. Eita. Vai dar merda pra caralho, hein? Ele tá enviando coisas pra cá. Agora Godwin de novo? Deve ser, né? Meu Deus.
I sure did. Botcher made sure everyone heard.
Busty-maiden in the pew. Parish priest has quite a view. Sweating at the altar. Nearly drops his soul to...
How'd you like a wine, Chevalier? The art of winemaking
Todo
has a
mundo
long
bêbado.
tradition in La Belle France. Recipes are passed on from father to son, and each generation brings them to perfection. I myself was practically raised on wine. How many I have tasted. Even the French royal court took note of my refined taste. The king himself had wine delivered for his table according to my advice.
I expect his lordship had the best barrels rolled out. Now, if you'd
Oxe,
only
cadê todo
known
mundo
you had
atrás?
a real connoisseur here.
Best barrels! Mon ami, this wine would perhaps be suited to the infirmary, where it would suffice for clean.
Memórias convidadas.
And when those two go?
Opcional. Ah, vou comemorar com os convidados antes. E aí, João, mas depois eu falo com você. Olha o Ian gente, cara. Mano, caralho. O Odin tá caindo. Porco. Olha o diabo seco.
Having a good time? There's a fucking bore. These old farts here have...
Well, what are you missing? There's wine, food.
Even a few females worth the sin.
I'd rather...
Well, let's have a game then.
Bora jogar.
But for what?
For a coin.
Let's make it 50
50
groschen
groschen.
to spice things up.
Nice. If I'd known you had that kind of coin on you, I'd have pinched it long ago.
Ora. Jogo bêbado. Meu Deus. Só tem um aqui. 1.500, hein? Valendo 50 groschen. Do padre. Gobble with you. Dá pra arriscar mais uma, vai. 3. Tem que cair pelo menos um 5. Cai um 5 ali, eu acho. É, vamos passar. Só 300 pontinhos. Vamos ver o diabo seco. Eita, caralho. Já conseguiu 400 logo de cara. Que merda. 50. Ih, continuou. Revés, 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 revés pra caralho. Revés pra caralho. Ah, mano. Esse jogo tá de brincadeira. O quê? Ah, não. Agora é revés. Ah, ainda bem. Fiquei com medo. Ih, ó. 600. E eu vou continuar, mano. Meti o louco. Não devia ter feito isso, se arrependi. Ah, não. Deu bom. Ponto vai passar. 1000 pontos estamos agora, hein? Eu adoro o joguinho do dado, cara. Mesmo que eu fico puto com ele às vezes. Olha, bastante ponto aí, hein? Cara louco, ele tentou, mano. Mais uma, revés, né? Que burro, velho. Já você que é burro, hein? Deve ser porque ele tá bêbado. 400. Mano, ganhamos. É isso aí. Vambora. Ganhei 50 groxa ainda.
some...
Sure. Playing for...
I might have something.
And what might...
Let's keep it a surprise.
Tá bom.
What the hell?
You bet.
Pera aí, vamos ver o que vai ser isso aqui. Nossa. Ganhei, praticamente. Calma. Quase que eu não tinha visto. Nossa, que azar que você teve, hein, diabo? Nossa, diabo, você teve, tipo, muito azar. Eu ganho 500 pontos a mais ainda. Recebi cenoura. Mas você tá de brincadeira. Cenoura.
You can dip that rotten carrot in lard.
I was just having a laugh with you.
Que idiota.
Lighten up a bit, eh? But if you don't like your pride...
Here you are. Not much use to me.
Ah, you've got no imagination. It's not like I could shove it down the back
Meu
of the
Deus do
cousins.
céu. Que cara idiota. Tá.
Act like you don't know the world of the lords.
Lords and...
How come you're still here, sir? Weren't you supposed to travel with Sir Hanush? Raise an army, prepare a wedding feast and all that?
All hail Jobst. He sorted things out here nicely. He got my money for a start, and that's more than I wanted to give him. But you know how it goes. Give them a finger. I explained to the Margrave that I'm not going anywhere, and I sent my captain with him. He's still young and full of piss and vinegar. I'm too old and fond of my comfort.
Did you at least discuss with Hanush where the wedding will take place?
Nothing to discuss. The wedding will take place at our castle Littitz, of course. It's the pride of our family. We can fit in 3 times more people than here, and that still wouldn't be much.
Ah, but there are 2 castles.
Então, Ratai é da hora, pô.
I'd bet my right arm old Hanush will want to have the wedding there.
What? In Ratai? Well, I ought to look into that then.
But deal with him yourself, though. I won't be your gent's messenger anymore.
I wouldn't worry about it.
Tem mais gente pra comemorar? Não, só fala com o Liechtenstein agora. Então vamos lá.
I beg your pardon.
Ô meu pai, esse merda. Quem é esse
May I
servo?
interrupt you for a moment? You already did, didn't you?
What's the matter?
Ah. Everyone keeps saying that the prettiest girls in the whole county serve the Yoderans at Rabosh. I didn't believe it. But I can see there's some truth in it.
What are you blabbering about?
Haven't you had a little too much wine, perhaps?
Putz, não
Not
deu
at
certo.
all. I could drink every man here under the...
No need. I believe.
Stop bothering us
Fracasso.
and go pester...
Acho que não está interessado. Bosta.
Good evening, my esteemed lady. I haven't yet had the opportunity to make your acquaintance.
No matter. I know, although Martin hardly spoke of you, from what I heard.
No offense, ma'am. But whatever picture you paint of me, I have reason enough to believe it's mistaken.
Indeed. So the stories of how in your youth you used to drag a different chambermaid to your bed.
And I also heard that you once fell drunk into the trench in front of the...
All right, I could...
And is it not true that one of your paramours may...
We are all sinners, Mom. And besides, that was 20 years ago.
Unquestionably. My husband...
Is your husband here too? I don't believe I've had the honor.
You won't find him here. He stayed at home in our fortress.
Or any journeys, for that matter. Even where the king goes on his own 2 feet.
All his life he gorged himself on meat, pastries, and wine. And...
Would you kindly introduce your 2 companions?
This is Lady Christina, second wife of Lord Binyik of Nostitz. She's standing in for him here today.
Nice to meet you, sir.
How come your husband didn't come?
Because he's been rotting for nearly a year in the king's captivity.
I'm sorry to hear that, Mom.
I've been praying for it since the day. Perhaps worldly powers will come to our aid once the promised army.
What's your opinion of the outcome of today's assembly?
That it's about time. Although at the onset it looked like everyone. But in the end, it seems the agreement arrived.
It's rather no.
It is a bit. But that's all part.
Wouldn't you prefer a little privacy?
Restrain your ardor. You're not the first to try and lure my girls somewhere out of... If you want to amuse yourself with them, I insist on being present.
But I had no...
And while you're on your way, be so kind and bring us another pitcher of wine.
Ah, não. Encontro uma jarra de vinho. Onde será que vai ter? Vai estar no estábulo, né? Vai ser aqui também.
Easy for you to say.
Onde será que tem vinho? Aqui. Opa. Vinho. Pô, merda, peguei o prato, mano. Vinho. Jarra de vinho. Isso não é pra opção. Beber vinho não, eu quero pegar vinho. Aí ele pega no copinho aí e bebe. Tem que o, né? Não era bom ele beber mais ainda, né? Godwin. Ela tá literalmente desde manhã assim. Ah, sei lá onde é que tem vinho, velho. Tô nem aí pra vocês também. Vou falar com o João de Liechtenstein. Oh, ele tá peidando, é impressão minha, cara. Muito nojento. E aí?
Sorry, have you...
From cleaning up this...
I've come to rescue you.
Really?
Well...
Of course. Do you play dice?
You mean...
You strip if you like.
Porra.
Either way, you'll end up bare-assed and with an empty...
I'll give that...
Not up. Look, if you want a bit of fun, go and see Dash...
I need help with something. Do you know where I might be? I mean the ones with the really good wine.
And you're one of...
I should say so. I'm his son.
And I'm the king. Anyway, I don't know nothing about no wine. In case you try asking my mom.
Ah, pelo amor de Deus. E aí?
Greetings.
Sorry, I don't want to interrupt.
What do you think? A fortress full of hungry...
Where might I find...
Why?
It's not for me.
Aha. If you go... It's Lord Odorin's best. He's...
I haven't eaten so well.
He didn't have to choose me. My old ma spent her whole...
Wait. You can...
It's been a long time since anyone... I was afraid you'd forgotten me.
You haven't changed.
But I have. And you've changed too. Not at all.
And how have you been all this time?
Not really. When he remarried and had another... I also got married. And soon I had my little Elishka running around under my feet. Young Sir Christopher used to come and play with her sometimes.
Tell me more about it.
She's a big girl now. She's a maid here.
Well, aren't you worried about her? A young girl doesn't have it easy in life.
Even as a little girl, she used to beat up the boys in the village.
And your husband?
Kuba? He died when Elishka was just a baby. He got
God grant him...
Tem a raiva do cachorro, provavelmente.
Do you think I could have...
Ah, stop it. Even as I was just convenient for you, because the kitchen was...
Oh, come on. I also chased...
Kuba, when your father sent you away, I found...
Cara, não adianta, cara. O Godwin fracassa em todos os seus testes aí, velho. Não vou fazer nada com ele. Cadê o zinho bom aqui? Ah, esse aqui, ó.
The rat'll be good, I hope.
Vamos lá, então.
Now there's a piece of horse flesh for you, Rudard.
Caralho, olha esse
Like that
cavalo.
nag of yours.
What the hell do you beat it with? It looks more like a damn bull.
Sir! Sir!
Eita porra.
There's some horsemen right out front of your fortress.
Ah, that's Peter of Pisac. He wouldn't come to the council, but he is coming happily to the celebration, you old fox.
Não é. Fudeu, mano. Vai abrir essa porta.
Come on in, sir. There's wine aplenty.
É o Otto von Berghoff. Nem deu pra falar com o João de Wittgenstein, cara. Fudeu, velho.
Hey! Hey! Intruders! Enemies at the gate!
Ai, caralho, rapaziada. Que merda, mano. Mano do céu, velho. Não, mano. Caralho. Rutard. Capturaram o Rutard. Capturaram meu pai. Até deixou de ser bêbado. Puta que pariu, vamos lutar bêbado. Ou ele ficou sóbrio pelo choque, sei lá. Ficou sóbrio, irmão. Christopher! Você não vai pegar meu irmão, não. Seu filho da puta. Quem mais? Você. Vai, toma. Ô, disca. Ai. Ai. Toma. Christ. Meu irmão morreu. Não, calma aí, volta o jogo. Não vou deixar meu irmão morrer, não. Sai fora. Eu achei que eu tava com ele ainda, mano. Ah, não, galera, desculpa, velho. Eu volto no save, não tô nem aí. Não ligo. Caralho, rapaziada, o bagulho ficou feio. Ah, mano, fiquei bêbado, velho. Não é possível, mano. Como assim eu fiquei bêbado? O jogo tinha tirado o efeito, velho. Porra, velho. Cadê meu irmão? Tá aqui.
No chance. Is that what you call fighting like a man? Come on.
Cadê meu irmão? Tá aqui. Morri. Puta que pariu, hein. Caralho, vai se fuder. Ah, é difícil lutar bêbado também nessa bosta, mano. Por que o jogo tem esses bugs, mano? É muito irritante isso, velho. Porra, ontem eu fiquei preso na cadeira. Não consegui interagir com o maluco da missão. Daí hoje eu carrego um save e eu não consigo deixar de ser bêbado. Porra, tá de sacanagem, né, velho?
Hey, that one's had it. I took him down. Never saw that coming. Stand your ground.
Ó, pegou ele. Tá, o Christopher aqui. Ok, põe ali também. Caralho. Meu Deus, mano. Vou morrer. Olha só, galera, acabei voltando aqui no save antes. Oh, meu Deus, o que é isso? Eu nunca vi isso antes. Caramba, pulei tudo. Que pena. Eu espero que não esteja bêbado agora. É isso. Proteja meu irmão. Toma esse contra-ataque de mim. Vamos, agora a gente vai ganhar, galera. Porra, hein, mano? Olha só. Aí o cara esqueceu de cura, velho. Faltou o Christopher. Ai, mano.
Drive those horses out. Dead. Didn't see that coming, eh?
Vem. Toma. 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 Sai. Tá, defendendo meu irmão. Ele não morreu. Graças a Deus. Ai, meu Deus. Henry tá vindo? É ou não é o Henry? Com essa roupinha do caralho. Não sei se é o Henry. Meu Deus do céu, velho. Corre, Henry. Se for o Henry, já vou mudar pra armadura. É o Henry. Muda. Essa bosta de armadura do caralho. Tira essa roupa. Sei lá, joga essa roupa de garçom fora. Tira essa merda aí. Pronto. Tá. Cadê? Vamos. Mano, que roupa cavalo é esse aqui? Meu cavalo não é. Cheguei. Seu filho da puta. Henry Oficialis chegou. Vamos, bora.
I feel quite hungry.
I feel quite hungry.
Come on then.
Henry Oficialis chegou. Tá todo mundo fudido. Cadê o Godwin? Cadê o Godwin? Cadê o Godwin? Cadê o Godwin que eu vou ajudar o Godwin? Sr. Hans! Christopher.
Bad luck. I'll beat you to a bloody pulp, fucker.
Toma, sua merda. Toma. Ó o Godwin aqui. Cadê sua espada, Godwin? Você tá na mão, mano. Você é louco? Então, Godwin, você salvou seu irmão. Ai. Capturaram alguns, velho.
A little too close.
Merda.
Fuck me. Do my eyes deceive me? Henry!
Godwin!
How did you get...
Damn. I can't tell you how happy I am to see you.
A gente chegou e fez a
You
destruição.
turned up at just the right moment.
Is everyone alright?
Não.
Well, some are, some aren't. They captured Odorin, Kunstad and Rutard. And they took Alder and Conrad of Vector away too.
They wanted to slay the rest like dogs.
What about my father? And Hanush?
Eles voltaram pra... Para embora.
Before that. I'm sure they're all right, but not everyone was so lucky.
I tried to come as soon as possible and warn you, but von Bergov's people beat me here.
You knew he was coming.
I was standing a few steps from von Aulitz when he told Sigismund I was pouring them wine, and had to listen to how Sigismund was going to give him Raborsch. It was a horrible feeling, not being able to do anything about it.
And what could you possibly do?
Kill them. Both of them.
My fingers would itch too. Was there any knife lying around? Or at least a fork? Do you know what that would cause?
The war would end.
But at what cost? After Sigismund's death, his army would be cut loose. They'd ransack the city and kill anyone in their way.
Do you like watching those foreigner dogs rampaging around and slaughtering innocents? Who else has to die before we do something about it?
Tell us about it. We were neck deep in corpses before you bothered to turn up.
Well, not you.
Fuck you, Jan. I'd trade places with you in a heartbeat. Trust me.
We've lost a lot of allies. We'll have trouble
Mano,
finding
que
new ones.
merda, velho.
They'll be afraid to even peep against Sigismund.
Well, are you surprised? Look around. Sigismund showed everyone what's coming for all who resist him.
You want to give up now?
Nobody said anything about giving up. We'll treat the wounded, bury the dead, get the hell out of here. Then we'll hide in the Devil's Den and wait for Jobst and his army.
If I survive the journey... Oh, God's teeth. That stupid nag nearly broke me in half.
The king announced one more thing at the council.
É verdade.
He asked the councillors to ransack the Jewish quarter. That is, he ordered it, more like.
Fuck! Liechtenstein's got his people there. They could reveal a lot.
The city rabbi is sitting upstairs in the hall. At least he's safe here.
They're our allies. We have to help them.
What do you mean by we? Everyone here is lucky to be still breathing. I can just see them all jumping to their feet and rush to save their poor Jews. Maybe Samuel will figure something out. He wanted to talk to you anyway.
He's here too?
Aye, escorting the rabbi. You should go and see them as soon as possible. And tell Liechtenstein too.
Anyway, we've got work to do. Godwin?
Give me a moment. I'll go and see Christopher first.
É, eu salvei o Christopher. Não ia deixar ele
Guard
morrer,
the
não.
walls until morning. If anyone shows up, rushed.
Mutz.
Here, Mutt.
Good boy. Good boy.
Sir Hans.
Good to see you both. Alive.
Oh, come on. You know I've walked out of much worse scrapes laughing.
They could well have killed us all. If it hadn't been for you, Henry, von Berkhoff could have caused a lot more harm.
Even a man like you can't know everything. At least you're all alive.
Well, not all of us. They killed Lady Anna of Wallstein and many other nobles.
Nossa, mano, ela ia ajudar nós,
And they
velho. Que
captured
merda,
our closest
mano.
and most influential allies. Without them, we can hardly get the burghers on our side.
Ó, tudo que a gente fez com o Godwin foi pro lixo, irmão.
We can't give up now. It would only show Sigismund that he has nothing to fear.
Exactly. This is a test and an opportunity to show that we stand by our allies, whatever the cost.
You're right. When I drink too much wine, I get overwhelmed with self-pity. Nevertheless, I have to admit it can't
Está
get
vindo
much
bem, galera.
worse.
Actually,
Tudo desandou agora, mano.
it might. And very soon. At Sigismund's council, an order was given to ransack the Jewish quarter.
God's wounds! We need to get back to the city and warn them.
I'm going with you.
Out of the question. Do you want to end up imprisoned again? You'll be more useful if you stay here and help Shishka. Henry, tell Samuel and the rabbi to get ready to travel. I'll try to get someone else to join.
What do you make of this Brabant fellow?
He's unquestionably a remarkable knight, that Vakalin.
He rambles on a lot, though. My head nearly bursts listening to him sometimes. Although it was better than being stuck there alone. Otherwise, he seems to me like a bold and worldly gentleman, if a little obsessed with wealth.
I agree. He seems quite likeable. And he's got a score to settle with Sigismund, like we do.
He certainly has.
What happened when von Bergov hauled you off after the Nabokov battle?
It was a dreadful journey. Jesus, don't even remind me. It was a bit better in Malashov. Apart from being locked up, of course.
Did anything happen along the way?
No, but it took ages to get to Malashov. 4 or 5 days in that god-awful cart. I was traveling with von Owlet's minions. They hauled me in one of the wagons. They treated my wounds a bit, but I was still in a really bad way. After that battle and all.
What did they do with you in Malashov?
Nothing much, actually. They took care of my wounds, and then stuck me in a room with Brabant. But they treated me decently, as befits a noble. Von Bergov came asking questions a couple of times, but that was about it. Only I almost went mad from being cramped in that damned room. It's a good thing you got me out of there.
Well, what was the problem with the room?
That I couldn't get out of there. You saw yourself when you came for me, didn't you? It's just that since Nabokov, when they shot the tower right down on my head and I was stuck there...
Ficou claustrofóbico.
Well, since then, I don't feel well in cramped spaces. Actually, I never did. I always preferred to be outdoors. But since Nabokov, it's worse than ever. I had a feeling the roof would fall on my head again and I'd be buried alive.
Coitado, mano.
I understand. It's a bit awkward for you that the nobility lives in castles.
That's a fact. Once I get my hands on my estates, I'll build a new castle that only has huge rooms and lots of spacious courtyards. And above all, no secret passages.
Great. I'm really looking forward to this new castle of yours.
You can be the castellan or something. Don't worry, I won't forget you. I'll even have a forge built so you feel right at home.
They didn't let you out at all? But you were in that room for ages.
No. They let us walk around the fortress a bit. We even went out for a ride twice, but they watched us like hawks. Not a chance of escape. But most of the time we were in that room. Like I say, I'm really glad you got me out of that hole.
What did von Bergov want from you?
Just the usual courtesies. The captivity of nobles has to observe certain formalities, you know? It's not like they could just throw you in some hole. They behaved fairly respectfully, but of course he was fishing for information. About Radzig and Hanush, and especially Jobst. What they're planning, how many men they have on the field, who else they're negotiating with and that.
And what did you tell him?
Nothing that he didn't already know. I played as dumb as the village idiot. I only told him they sent us with that message and discussed the rest when we were gone.
And did he swallow it?
I think he suspected I was bluffing a bit. And then he tried to loosen my tongue by letting me go hungry for a while.
My word.
Boas,
nice work keeping him up. But the main thing is, you're alive and kicking. A bat with...
Indeed.
nightmare.
De ser o corvo. Olha só. Eu não entendo nada dessas armas aí porque eu não gosto desse tipo de arma.
We have to take care of young Sir Christopher and hope his father comes back soon.
Caralho,
Best
que
thing we
medo.
can do is to keep doing
Ah,
all.
mano, mataram a Ana, velho.
Lord doesn't come back.
Then we'll have a young
A Matilda.
He's not a little boy anymore. Soon he'll get married and have a bunch of children.
We can own
Que porcaria, galera.
They put enough arrows in him to knock down. What about your heart?
I don't know.
Olha o Kinsey aí. Todo bugado. Vamos lutear aí, galera. Guardar tudo aqui no Kinsey pra gente vender depois. Esse cara tem uma espada larga. Eu não gostei não. Esse cara tem esse bico que vale bastante. Perneiras que vale bastante. A baselarda, essa aqui vale bastante, eu vou pegar. Capacete que vale bastante. Manoplas também. Chalcês não vale muito. Guarda de volta. Cadê? Você aqui. Perneiras bastante. Caralho, peguei alguma coisa. Ah, baselarda, né? Ela vale bastante, pega aí. Couraça, mangas, perneiras. Tá, vamos pôr aqui no cavalo agora. Não. Baselarda, bico. Beleza. Nossa, esse montante vale bastante. É o mesmo que o meu. Mas o meu é melhorzinho ainda. Tem uma insígnia boa.
My Tempest lost his life too. They put enough arrows in him to knock down 3 lightning.
Nobre.
I saw him bolting out the gate. Someone set his main and
Opa, 1000. Por aqui, né? Outro montante foda.
Maybe he'll come back.
Mil. 500, 700. Tá, vamos pegar acima de 500, vai. É isso aí. Não tem mais nada não. Vamos por aqui, vai. Montante com o cavalo não aguenta mais, puta. Que merda. Joga fora. Peguei o máximo que dava. Sai da frente, cachorro.
You did. But
I still insist that it was necessary. And what have we gained? We could...
Ai, Samuel, você é um cagão também. Essa mulher feia tá viva.
No one knows where they took order. It is enough that you gave them our money.
Vamos ver isso aqui, galera, no próximo episódio. Que não come. Esse aqui foi um episódio muito bom. Cara, esse jogo tá bom pra caralho. Tá vendo? Ainda bem que eu tô fazendo isso principal, porque... cansado daquelas secundárias. As secundárias são boas também, mas não chega aos pés das principais, velho. É isso, gente. Deixa o like, se inscreve. A gente se vê amanhã. Tchau, tchau.